Good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome into Morning JOX. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order. Conrad, can we call this a War Eagle Wednesday?
No.
Oh. But I thought you would have at least a little bit of empathy. Not necessarily empathy, but a little bit of happiness for your for a team here in the state. Had an impressive
No,
week.
I am happy for him, but that doesn't mean we're changing the name of a whole. No.
They all deserve their flowers today.
They do, but that doesn't mean we name the day after them. Just because you're wearing the shirt.
Hey, you know me, big Auburn guy. Huge
You did
Auburn
go to
guy.
a game last year.
Yeah. You know me, huge Auburn fan. Been a big Auburn guy. You know, yeah. Man,
Such a big Tennessee fan, too, that you wore an Ohio State pullover the other day.
I told you, I'm a Heupel disciple. He just so happens to coach the University of Tennessee. But no, Auburn, the number one team in the nation, put that on full display last night. We kind of knew that, Oklahoma, they came in as a 17.5-point underdog in Neville Arena, and all Auburn did was cover that spread with ease. Auburn wins 98-70 over the Oklahoma Sooners last night, and it was a complete total domination from Auburn to what they did to Oklahoma. I think when you look at this Auburn team, this is how you're supposed to handle yourself as the number one team. You don't even it never felt as though Oklahoma even had a realistic shot of making that game competitive, and it wasn't. They had no answer for anything, both inside and outside for Auburn. And I like the way that, one, you saw it on the defensive side, too. I mean, every shot that Oklahoma was putting up was either contested or it felt like it was getting blocked between Dylan Cardwell and Janai Broome. I just think that collectively what we saw from Auburn last night, that's how you're supposed to play as the number one team. And as we're getting closer to, the SEC tournament and March Madness and the NCAA tournament. So these are the games that you want to see this team have, because they went out there, handled their business, and it felt like early on there was nothing Oklahoma could really do. Even when they thought they were getting close or trying to claw back, Auburn just continued to apply the pressure, both offensively, defensively, and it was from everybody on the roster. This was probably the most complete game Auburn has played, to me, all season long, where it felt as though everything they were doing inside out, defensively, the pressure that they were applying to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's a pretty good shooting team, and Auburn's like, nah, not today. And that's how you get a score of 98-70 on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think this game went, I wasn't totally surprised by the way that it went, right? Because in the first half, Oklahoma hung around a little bit. They made it interesting a couple times. You had an opportunity there at the very end of the first half if you're Oklahoma, where if they had been able to go and score and then, get a stop on Auburn, we would have had a 5 or 6 point game at halftime. Ultimately, they're not able to get some points, and then Auburn makes it a 10-point lead going into half. And, but even at that point, you still felt like, okay, maybe, Oklahoma comes out, they have a better shooting performance in the second half. Like, they can get right back in this thing. But like you were saying, offensively, Auburn obviously had a great night. They scored almost 100, but defensively, just making an impact on so many of Oklahoma's shots. And, you look at, it's pretty telling. Auburn shoots 52.5% from the floor. Oklahoma shoots 33%. And the reason for that is, like we were saying, it was the defense, right? A lot of it. And some of them were just, shots weren't falling for Oklahoma, but you have to give the defense a lot of credit for the shooting performance that Oklahoma had last night. And that was really all she wrote, right? It wasn't one of those games where you look at it and, like we've seen with some teams where, somebody has 20 plus turnovers. And Oklahoma did have 15 turnovers, but, it wasn't, I guess, anything crazy lopsided where you just look at it and go, oh, okay, well, that was the one thing, they couldn't keep the ball, or Auburn, had so many second chance opportunities on offensive rebounds. It was just, they were playing good defense and Oklahoma wasn't hitting their shots. And, Janai Broome had another big game for Auburn last night. He gives you 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. I think that's another thing that's underrated about Janai Broome, is the fact that he leads Auburn in assists per game. Just kind of shows you how versatile he is as a big man. Chad Baker-Mazara gives you 15. Denver Jones gives you 13. Miles Kelly gives you 9. Miles Kelly hits that 3 at the very beginning of the game and just kind of set the tone for Auburn from there. But Chaney gives you 13 off the bench, and Pettiford gives you 11 off the bench. So 5 guys in double figures for Auburn. And, this is a good Oklahoma team. Going into the game last night, they were set to be a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. So this is certainly a caliber opponent, not because, not it doesn't matter they don't have a number right next to their name.
Right.
Like, they are firmly in the NCAA tournament field as it stands right now. And playing at Neville, that's makes a big difference in a lot of these games for Auburn, because the crowd was electric last night. But yeah, there's just nothing you could really do if you're Oklahoma, because, like I said, you were able to keep it somewhat competitive in the first half, and then Auburn goes out there and scores 54 in the second half, and
Yeah.
nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah, it was just like you said, when Miles Kelly hits the 3 to start the game, you kind of, okay, well, this is how this is about to go, and it continued from that point forward. When you look at just how Auburn was, and I think a lot of it on the defensive side too. Dylan Cardwell with 6 blocks for himself, and Auburn as a team finished with 11 blocks total. And that's the smothering defense that you really don't see that often in college basketball, or just in basketball in general now, because a lot of people, we know that it's such an offensive-minded game now. It's all about how you space the floor, but Auburn still attacked defensively exceptionally well, causing a bunch of turnovers, contesting these guys at the rim. But to me, I think that's what separates this team, because, okay, you're not asking, it's very similar to how they were last year, where it feels like everybody knows exactly what their role is. It's just now they're starting to be more confident in some of the shots that they take. So when you see Dylan Cardwell, he shoots 100%, goes 4 for 4 from the field. The same way with Denver Jones goes 4 for 4. He had a perfect game, went 3 for 3 from 3, and he made his 2 free throws. So I think just the way this Auburn team is set up with the depth and all the 5 that, Bruce Pearl puts on the floor, he has 1,000% confidence in. And with Dylan Cardwell, you're not asking him to go out here and give you, 20 points a game, but he does have some when he gets on the pick and roll situation. You saw how many lobs he got last night and just, dunking all over the place. I think for Auburn, this is what you want to see from your squad as the number 1 team in the nation, and that you can win in a bevy of ways, because it wasn't like they lit it up from 3. I think they went 8 for 26 from 3 themselves. So it wasn't the greatest of shooting nights, but they handled their business. Oklahoma went 27 from 29 from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you make a couple more threes, because they go 7 for 23, hell, if you just make a couple more shots, there's no telling how this game could have gone. But I think for Auburn to see what they've been able to do last night, it really sets a tone for what this stretch could mean for them, because they know what the SEC schedule is and how tough the SEC has been this season. But they've shown that they are the best team in college basketball.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think the cool thing about this team is, you have a lot of guys that, maybe they could have gone to a different place and been, the featured guy, right? Or, you look at, some of the games that you get from guys like Denver Jones or Miles Kelly, and their ability to shoot it and the kind of volume that they might be able to get somewhere else. You look at, look at a guy like Todd Pettiford, who I understand, like, he's a freshman, but coming in, like, getting good minutes off the bench and being a role player for them, like, that's a guy that could have gone to a lot of other schools and like been their best player and gotten all the playing time in the world. And you just have this group of guys. I'd throw Chad Baker-Mazar in that mix as well. Like, just these group of guys where if they were on, 80% of the other teams in college basketball, they would probably be the featured player. And that just goes and is a testament to the depth, because it truly is every night. It's like, all right, well, any one of these guys could go and, maybe Janai is the leading scorer, the majority of the time, but, who's the second leading scorer is going to change on almost a nightly basis. And I think that's something that makes this team really special. And it's something that, just in the new world of college football, college basketball, college athletics as a whole, I just feel like you're going to see less and less of that, where guys are going, I'm going to take care of myself, right? I want to go somewhere where I can get paid the most, I can get the most minutes on the floor, whatever it may be. And Auburn just has a really special collection of dudes who just seem to play really well as a team, right? They just, when you look at Auburn, you just see a team. It doesn't even feel like Janai Broome is necessarily bigger than the team, right? And maybe part of that is because we saw how well they played even when he was out with the ankle injury. But yeah, it's just really cool to see. And there's just teams that you watch every now and then, and this Auburn team's one of them where you just watch them and you go, man, like, I mean, they are one of the best college basketball teams in recent memory, honestly. And granted, we'll see what happens in March, and a lot of that legacy is going to be determined by, is this a team that makes it to a Final Four, makes it to a national championship, maybe even wins a national championship? Because if you don't do those things, then it's going to be viewed as a disappointment. But at least as it stands right now, I mean, they're just fun to watch. Like, it is just the highest quality basketball that you could watch, and that's a major compliment to Bruce Pearl and that team.
Yeah, and you know what Auburn has at stake these next couple games. They have Florida at home on Saturday. Then 2 road trips. They got to go to Vanderbilt, and of course on the 15th, it's the first edition of the Iron Bowl of basketball with the University of Alabama. So again, I mean, when you look at Auburn, it's definitely obvious that they are the best team in the SEC. And really and truly the best team in the nation just because of how complete that they play. And again, the only team that's beaten them so far is Duke. And it wasn't like they blew them out. Had a chance, but it was early on. I would love to see.
And you had to go to Cameron Indoor.
Exactly. I would love to see that matchup again later on in March Madness to see, pretty much who is the best team in college basketball, because I do think, with Cooper Flagg going against Janai Broome again, just to see that matchup, because both of those guys from that point forward has shown that they are two of the best players in the nation. But again, Florida, Auburn's next opponent on Saturday. They get a big win last night over the Vanderbilt Commodores, 86-75. Early on, Vanderbilt actually had the lead at halftime, but the second half, Florida really starts to turn up things, and they go out and handle their business to set up for a matchup with Auburn. But I think that a team that's kind of hit a little bit of a wall. Last night, the Kentucky Wildcats took the floor again since their loss to John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks over the weekend, and they have a very poor showing against Ole Miss. Now, the final score ended up being 98-84, Ole Miss knocking off Kentucky. But if you watch the game, at no point did you feel as though Kentucky was even matched up well with Ole Miss. Ole Miss they handled their business, and they went out and I think at one point they were up by 20, 26, 27?
Yeah, I was about to say they were up 23 at half, and then, they added on a little bit to that. But, yeah, I mean, you let Ole Miss – I mean, Ole Miss is a good basketball team, don't get me wrong, but, you let Ole Miss score 54 points in the first half. Like, you're not going to win a lot of games like that. And, that's kind of what we've seen from Kentucky, right, is even, like when Alabama went up there to Rupp, and that was a great game. But ultimately it came down to, I mean, if Kentucky had even somewhat of a pulse defensively that game, they would have beaten Alabama. It was just the fact that they literally could not stop Alabama, and they're one of the few teams that can match Kentucky's scoring production, point for point, every trip up and down the court. So, but now, man, this is just, the brutal life in the SEC, though. I mean, again, it wasn't that many days ago that we were watching them go and beat Tennessee and going, oh, man, look again, another great win for Kentucky. Yep. We were talking about how they have, they tied the record for most top 15 wins in a season, I think. And you think about the history of Kentucky and you're like, man, this could be a really, really special season for them. But now it just, it looks a lot different if you're Mark Pope. And we're at that point now where the honeymoon phase is over. And we talked about this a little bit, yesterday with the loss to Arkansas, and now really with the Ole Miss loss. It's, there's, from a football perspective, right, I think you can look at this as very similar to, the Kalen DeBoer situation, right? Of, all right, you early on in the season, you're having a lot of success. You beat Georgia, everything's great. And then it's, all right, you lose to Vanderbilt. Okay, well, that's not good. That's concerning. But all right, it's one loss, Right. You can get this thing back on track, right? Then you go to Tennessee and you have a horrible offensive performance, and it's, okay, this is concerning now. There's really no more room left for error, no more margin for error. And, that's not the case for Kentucky. They're going to be in the tournament no matter what. But, this was a team that looked like they might be a 2 seed, and now they're looking more like a 5 seed potentially in March Madness. So a great win for Ole Miss, a great win for Chris Beard. Again, that Ole Miss was a team that had been reeling a little bit, falling down into the poll to number 25 this week. And Now you get a big double-digit win over a team like Kentucky, but this is kind of what we expected, right? And this also shows what is so impressive about what Auburn is doing right now is outside of Auburn and I guess kind of Alabama, they had the loss to Ole Miss, but especially Auburn since they have an undefeated record right now in SEC play. That just shows you how remarkable that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because these other teams like the Tennessees of the world, the Kentuckys of the world, the Floridas of the world. I mean, Tennessee's projected to be a 1 seed right now with Auburn and Alabama, but I look at them completely differently. And just the way that they've had to go through the SEC schedule, and they're 4-4 or 5-4 in SEC play now, and the fact that Auburn is undefeated, and right now, I mean, based on what they have ahead of them, I wouldn't pick Auburn to finish with more than 2 losses in SEC play, and that's just thinking about how good this conference is, and the fact that Auburn could legitimately go 17-1, 16-2, something like that in SEC play is remarkable, and you get reminded of that pretty much every night here in
Yep.
the conference because something crazy happens.
Yeah, and listen, and the SEC is complicated and as jumbled up as it is right now. Alabama's in the best spot. The state of Alabama is in the best spot because we have two of the best teams in the nation in our state. With Auburn and Alabama, we have the number one team in the nation. You got Duke right behind them, and then Alabama enters
Lowly
in
number 3.
Exactly. But it's setting up perfect, man.
We need Duke to lose at some point in the next 10 days. Let Alabama and Auburn keep playing, and then you would have number 1 Auburn versus number 2 Alabama in the IBOB. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they've never played each other as the number 1 and 2 teams in the country.
Right.
I could be wrong, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's never happened.
I agree, and it's going to be a fun matchup either way it goes. But I do think that we're counting down to we got 10 days. Yeah, 10 days. Auburn's got a couple tests before then. Alabama as well, and then on the 15th we shall see. But the benefit for Alabama, you get it at home. You get the first one at home, so you can find yourself in the driver's seat. And again, if you handle your business like that, you'll have the head-to-head at that point. Just continue to ball out. See where it goes, man. It's exciting, man. Think of how dreary it was that weekend when both Alabama and Auburn lost in football. And then now to see where they are in basketball and just, hey, you know what? The football months may have been tough, but right now, all eyes are on the state of Alabama when it comes to basketball. We want to hear from you. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls, always welcome here on Morning JOX. Just break it down what we saw from Auburn last night. Are they in the driver's seat to claim a national title? Are they in the driver's seat to have a chance of winning it all in basketball? Something that we've never seen before in the state of Alabama, and also for Auburn. We'll continue the conversation on the other side. 205-834-9450. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. 622 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order, and you as well. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls, always welcome here on Morning JOX on this War Eagle Wednesday that Conrad says we cannot claim just yet.
Hey, I'm wearing orange. That's close enough.
There we go.
Man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an Auburn shade. A little closer to Texas, but I mean, it'll do. All orange is the same, except for Tennessee's. Yeah, pretty much everybody's the same except for Tennessee.
But yeah, they like to stand out.
They do. Was that the garbage truck collectors convention?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Garbage truck workers convention. Yeah, absolutely.
Which you've now been attending for the last 2 or 3 years.
No. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, you know me, big Hendon Hooker guy. I was a big Josh Heupel fan, huge.
Oh, you were? You're saying that like in the past tense.
Well, that's because Hendon Hooker's now in the NFL. That's
Oh, well, okay. Well, since you brought this up, I'm not setting you up for anything. So yesterday on Three Man Front, we were talking about, there was a list that came out of the top 25 college football coaches that On3 put out there. And Josh Heupel was number 10 on that list. Do you think that's fair? Would you have him higher? Would you have him lower?
I think 10's about right. I think 10's about right. I have to pull up the list and see like who was ahead of him and see if you have
right ahead of him was Kalen DeBoer.
One has coached in his national championship game. One has not. I've seen their head to head.
I was about to say Josh Heupel's undefeated against
I've seen their
Kalen DeBoer though.
Yeah, it's worth the conversation. I mean, when you look at his track record too, Kalen DeBoer, he's won everywhere he's gone, and again, he got Washington a national title. I gotta give him a lot of credit for that.
But he lost to Vanderbilt in Oklahoma.
Two teams that Tennessee did beat as well. Oh,
this is true. I'm trying to help you out here.
I know. I would. It's worth the conversation. It's worth the conversation. Right now, yes, I would swap those two. I would have Josh.
You would have Josh Heupel ahead of Kalen
DeBoer. Not like an arms, not like he ain't blowing him out, but I'd probably lean more Josh Heupel because again, time will tell. But I will say the last time I saw them two coach against each other, just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to make too many people mad this morning. We already said it was War Eagle Wednesday, and now I'm saying Josh Heupel's better coach than Kalen DeBoer.
Hey, you said it.
We got a long summer. We got a long off season. We'll see how that goes. 205-834-9450. Just reacting to what we saw from Auburn last night as they get a big win over the Oklahoma Sooners, 98-70. Just trying to see where kind of the gauge is with Auburn being the number 1 team in the nation, Alabama being number 3. Do you think that it's Auburn's national title to pretty much lose at this point in the NCAA tournament? Lee texted in, he says, not sure which team will do it, but the state of Alabama will be bringing home the national championship in basketball this year.
I hope you're right, Lee. Yeah, we certainly have a good opportunity for that. I would feel really good, and I don't know if you could, I'm sure there's somewhere you could put a friendly wager on something like this, but for a team from the state of Alabama to make the Final Four, whether that is Auburn or Alabama, or even a Cinderella run from a UAB or Samford, I guess, but I would feel pretty good about that right now, and that's a very difficult thing to do. And the NCAA tournament is a complete, show a lot of times because it is one and done, and there's just so many different variables that can go into each individual matchup. But I mean, I've said for the last couple of weeks now, I think Alabama, Auburn, and Duke have separated themselves from the rest of the country. And that doesn't mean that you can't get upset in the NCAA tournament, but at least right now, it's hard not to see at least 2 of those 3 teams ending up in the Final Four.
Yeah, and I got to, again, hypothetical, but in the event that it does happen, I know that you're an Alabama grad, you're a big Alabama guy, me and you both. If Auburn were to make it to the national title game, would you be rooting for Auburn?
In basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I mean, I'd be happy for them, but I'm not going to root for them now.
really?
No.
Oh man, that Crimson blood is deep.
Do you think Auburn fans would root for Alabama if they made the national? Do you think they were rooting for them in the Final Four last year?
A few. I would say I would say it would be less than half. Less than half the fan base.
I think now too that it because it was, you know, that was kind of the thing for a long time, right? Or for I guess 5 years of okay, you know, Auburn had the Final Four, but Alabama didn't. And so now that Alabama got it, and I guess I appreciate it. It seemed like there were some fans that were like, "Oh, okay, well, it's cool to see that they made it there, right?" And that's how I would look at it, right? I have no problem if Auburn goes and wins a national championship in basketball, but I'm not going to sit there and actively root for them.
What if it's Auburn and Duke in the national championship game? Would you root for?
Oh, okay, then I'll root for Auburn, yeah.
Okay, so it depends on who they're going against.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, but outside of Duke, yeah, I mean, it'd be like the national championship in football, right? It'd be like,
somebody's got to win.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's got to win. I'd be happy for Auburn. I'd be happy for all of our Auburn fans. It'd be great for us. I'd love to hear, you know, people calling in and celebrating and being happy that Auburn won a national championship in basketball, but
nah. That's wild. I thought you were a big ACC guy like me. Like you root for the entire conference.
Yeah, see, I don't buy into that as much as some other people. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it's nice. It sounds nice.
So any other SEC school, if they were in a national title game, you would root for them? If Tennessee were to make a championship,
no.
What about Florida?
Yeah, that wouldn't bother me.
Texas A&M?
No.
I think,
but I'm with you though. Like the basketball is way more tolerable than football.
Exactly. It's like, okay, we can see where we draw the line. It's like, all right, you know, like, nah, I ain't really rocking with them either. What about Kentucky?
No.
What Coach Cal's gone?
It's still Kentucky. It's like rooting for Duke basketball. It's the same thing.
Ole Miss. You would root for Ole Miss if they were in the national title game.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it's okay. It's just basically the enemy of my enemy is still not my friend.
Yeah, like I'm not going to root for LSU. I'm not going to root for Georgia. Auburn, Tennessee. Yeah, no, I'm not.
I got you. I thought you know, the brand. I thought everybody's big SEC fans around here. No.
It would be great. Again, I think it would be great, and I would be happy for all of our Auburn listeners and all of our Auburn friends. But I'm not going to actively cheer for it. I got you.
Somebody just texted in and says, "I lose respect for any Alabama fan cheering for Auburn in the championship game, and vice versa."
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. That's how, because I remember, you know, when Auburn beat Oregon in the national championship with Cam Newton, and because it was obviously right after the year that Alabama had beaten Texas, and there were so many Auburn fans that, you know, it went both ways. But like in 2009, you know, Auburn fans weren't rooting for Alabama to win the national championship. And then you had the roles reversed the next year. And I knew some Auburn people that were like, come on, you're not happy for us back-to-back years in the state of Alabama? Like, this is about the state. It's not about Auburn versus Alabama. I'm like, hell no, it's not about the state of Alabama. No, it is not. Wasn't about the state of Alabama last year. Nope. But I think that's healthy for any rivalry.
Exactly.
Right? Like, personally, like I don't want to be a part of a rivalry where it's like, yeah, we're always rooting for each other. You know, because I had family members growing up that, well, you know, when Auburn doesn't play Alabama, I'm rooting for them because they're from Alabama. Not me. Nope.
Like King Rocks.
Yeah, I'm like,
no. He ain't rocking with that. Lewis texts in, he says, I'd be happy for Auburn fans and their enjoyment if they won a national championship. I would actively pull against them during the game regardless of the opponent. The ultimate no-win scenario is Auburn versus Tennessee. I just wouldn't watch.
Yeah, that would be rough. But no, that's exactly how I feel, right? I would be happy. I would genuinely be happy for Auburn fans getting to celebrate that moment. But I'm not going to actively participate in them getting to that moment.
I got you.
If you get it, great. But I don't want any part of it until then.
I got you. 205-834-9450. Just taking a look at Auburn and Alabama basketball. And that's actually a good question. Alabama fans, if Auburn were to win a national title, would you cheer for them? Would you root for them? Or would you be like Conrad and just pat them on the back and say congratulations? And Auburn fans, vice versa. If Alabama makes another Final Four to national championship run, depending on where Auburn gets eliminated at, I think a lot of people started hating on them because they was out in the round of 64 last year, and they would have to watch Alabama go to the Final Four. But, you know, if Alabama were to play for a national title, would Auburn fans kind of support their brethren in arms? But the way it's looking, absolutely not. But we want to hear from you. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls. We will return here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5.
I can already tell you're overthinking it.
I'm scared, man. I'm nervous, man. I ain't trying to get on anybody's bad side. It's Guns N' Roses. Sweet Child of Mine. Yeah, dog. Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, that's who don't know that banger.
You 24 hours ago.
Welcome back into Morning JOX. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order. Yeah, who don't know any Guns N' Roses, man? I knew it as soon as I heard it. I think.
Damien 24 hours ago. Oh, yeah, they sing Welcome to the Jungle. Yes, my response, yeah, and Sweet Child of Mine. That's probably their most popular song. Damien was not familiar with that song, but I'm glad to know that you were able to use the context clues and
Right. I had to piece it together a little bit. I was like, okay, let me listen to it a little bit longer, make sure, because I made some people very upset when it came to the AC/DC and Guns N' Roses comparison. They're like, nah, big dog, just go ahead and sit this one out. So Todd texted in and says, was that Pearl Jam? Man, leave me alone, man. We just out here having a good time. We out here having a good time. We're just having a discussion, man. I kind of let the question with Auburn and Alabama both being successful in college basketball right now, Auburn being the number 1 team, Alabama being the number 3 team. And I asked Conrad, as an Alabama alum and fan, would he root for Auburn if they found themselves in the national title game? He's like, absolutely not. He'd be happy for the fan base and for the team, but nah, he's not going to be rooting for old Auburn in the national championship. So I asked it for the listeners to see where y'all lie between, if Alabama makes a national championship and you're an Auburn fan, would you root for them? And I'll just put it like this. There's one thing that Cole Kubelik says about the SEC. We love to hate more than we love to love, and it's very evident.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very evident. Marcus takes it and says, Auburn could be playing against Hell's Army, and I wouldn't pull for them.
Well, you got to think, you got 1 team to love and 15 teams to hate, so that's 15 times more hate. It's just not a bad rate or not a good ratio.
Yeah, fanboy, he takes it and says, I don't want Auburn to win nothing. If they out and around the 64, I'm in high spirits. Dang. Man, if Auburn, CJ takes it and says, if Auburn was playing in Russia, in underwater polo, I would have to pull for Russia to win. Somebody else takes it and says, just can't do it. War damn Eagle. Oh, I really did not know this. I kind of thought that, hey, you could put it to the side and say, you know what? No, we want to see y'all have some success. Absolutely not. No.
Well, and again, because the
hate is real.
The hate is real, but also, again, I think like I was saying, these programs have both been pretty good for a number of years now. So we're past the phase of, oh, well, Alabama or Auburn's actually good at basketball now. Like, that's cool. Let's go and see them do something they've never done before. Granted, they still need to win a national championship, both programs, but they both made it to a Final Four now. So it's like, oh, okay, you've had your moment. That was great. All right, now we're down to business. Like, now it's viewed as you are an obstacle in my way to winning a national championship for either Alabama or Auburn. So, yeah, I think that goodwill's gone.
This is insane. Somebody texted and says, if I'm ever wearing a turban, it's because Auburn is playing Iraq. Oh, come on, man.
6:30 in the morning.
Right. Like, dog, get the hate out your heart, man. Well, I see, man. I'm here for it, though.
Incredible. Yeah.
I'm here for it because that just goes to show that we're passionate about our fans here. I'm cool with it though. It's real. When my school was open, there's the other Division III school down in Montgomery. I could care less about them. If they have any sort of success, it's like, all right, okay, congratulations. So I can understand, but I thought that with us being SEC fans and just rooting for our conference, I thought we put the hate to the side. It's like, let's go.
No.
I couldn't have been more wrong. Let's go to the phone lines, 205-834-9450. Our resident Auburn fan right here. Don, what's happening this War Eagle Wednesday, my brother?
Hey, good morning and War Damn Eagle. And let me just say my thing. Hell no, I ain't rooting for Alabama nothing, okay?
Whatever. You picked Alabama to beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl as an Auburn fan, but it's all good.
I did, and now I got to go to your airport hangar next Saturday and play. So we'll show up. We'll be ready.
Absolutely.
But I told Pat the other day. He asked me. Pat and Landry asked me if I was going, Damien, and everything. And Conrad to know this. I've never seen Auburn win in basketball in Coleman Coliseum. I've been there 4 times and never seen them win. So
that's why we got to get you to the game next Saturday, Don. We're going to get you down there.
I was waiting for you to say that, Conrad. If you want to pay $400 to get me in a seat, then more power to you, brother.
Yeah, I'm about to open up a GoFundMe. We're going to get Don to Coleman. We'll put you courtside. Yeah, it'll be a great experience.
Oh, yeah. Hey, put me behind put me behind Nate Oates. I would love that. Yes, please.
No, we're going to put you behind Bruce Pearl. You'll get a little bit of the mist off of the back sweat coming off you on the bench there. It'll be great, Don.
I got you. But I will say this now, when y'all went to the Final Four last year, Conrad, everything, I said, I cannot do this. I cannot have them win I can't have them win a national championship basketball team before me, okay? No. There was no way in the world I was going to root for y'all last year when you made it to the Final Four. And I have no problem with the hatred. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
We don't like each other.
And yet you still picked Alabama to win in the Iron Bowl as an Auburn fan. That's wild.
I know that, Damien. We had a bad football team, but I'm having a great time for basketball.
There we go.
But anyway, guys, thank you, and we're damn Eagle.
There we go. Good to hear from you, Don. Oh, boy. There's a lot of hate out here in the world. Like, I didn't think that people would bring this energy at 6 o'clock in the morning. Nah, it's you do not want to see the other team have any sort of success. And they're definitely letting us know on the Jocks text line, 205-834-9450. You can text or call in. Somebody just wants to kick me while I'm down. Says, if Auburn was playing Florida-Georgia line, I would want Florida-Georgia line to win and put out quality music.
I agree with that.
Why are y'all like this? Why are y'all like this? But I get it, though. Yeah,
you should just be happy. This is kind of skated over your whole Josh Heupel over Kalen DeBoer comment, so this is helping you out. I know you're sitting there like, oh man, I kind of got away with something this morning.
I'm dodging it like, okay, like, nobody's gonna bring that up. Okay, cool. Let's keep it going. Big John texted in. He said, raised to hate. Love Saban now that he's not at Alabama. War damn Eagle. Okay. Now everybody's on Don. David said he's got $50 on Don to go for the GoFundMe.
That's what I'm saying. We could raise some money pretty quick, I think, to get Don to the Alabama game and give Alabama some good luck, apparently.
This is real. Somebody texted in and says, if Auburn was playing a high school team, I would pull for the high school team. I once threw away an Auburn cupcake my kids brought home from a birthday party. It was game day. Roll Tide. This is what I'm here for.
It just means more, man.
It does. We'll keep it going. Just want to continue to hear from y'all. If Auburn were to win a national title, not even win it, just play for a national title, Alabama fans, would you support your Auburn brethren, and vice versa? If Alabama makes it, would Auburn fans cheer on Alabama if they got a chance to play for a national title in basketball? In basketball now, not football. We're talking about basketball, with both teams having the success on the court as they have. We'll continue on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. Creed. It's Pearl Jam, ain't it?
And I play the same Pearl Jam song every time so that hopefully you'll get it.
No, they just sound so similar, man. They really do.
In the future, just whatever your gut's telling you, it's the other one.
Man, welcome back in the Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order having some fun.
Thought we were going to end the show on a strong note.
I did. I did too. We're here with you for a few more moments. You get yourself from McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. And something that has taken off this morning that I thought that I guess I'm just too optimistic of a fan. But I asked the question, with both Alabama and Auburn being successful right now in basketball, if you're an Alabama fan and you watched Auburn play for a national title, would you root for Auburn? And I asked the same thing for Auburn fans. If Alabama were to play for a national title in basketball, would you root for Alabama? And the JOX text line 205-834-9450. It's a complete no on both sides. This is interesting. Somebody texted in and says, when I served in the Navy, a state senator Auburn grad met with all sailors from Alabama. He was giving out Auburn t-shirts. I said, I can't accept this, sir. Roll Tide. He understood. It's real.
Yeah. It runs deep.
Now somebody's trying to be funny. He said, I'd rather call LeBron James the GOAT than pull for Auburn. Well, one of those is.
I was about to say one of those things is, yeah.
Oh, man. Philip texts in and says, big dog, 2 days in a row, mixing up rock bands, then thinking we're rooting for Alabama. War damn Eagle. Love you, brother.
Hey, the Auburn crowd has to claim you today with your shirt choice.
Hey, it's a War Eagle Wednesday, brother. It's a War Eagle Wednesday. It's going to stick.
Guess I'm going to start wearing orange every Wednesday, though.
Absolutely. Somebody texted in and said, I'd rather be on fire than cheer for Alabama in any sport. War damn Eagle.
I respect that.
Our buddy Bennett, he's up this morning. He texted in and says, I will never support Alabama. If they made it to the national championship, I think I would cry. This is wild, man. It says, Bama fan here. There's no way I'm pulling for Auburn, Tennessee, LSU, or Georgia in anything. Could possibly tolerate Ole Miss or Vanderbilt in the Final Four because they never win anything.
Okay, so for the record, from every text that you've seen, have we had a single person that has said, yes, I would root for either Alabama or Auburn if they were in the national, like their rival in the national championship?
Nope. It's all hate.
It's unanimous.
It's all hate. Ain't nobody was like, I could, possibly. They're like, nope, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Somebody takes in and says, cheering for your rival in a national championship would be like cheering for your best friend and get with your ex. Roll Tide, roll. It's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
I wouldn't be rooting for that.
Yeah, not at all. Not in the slightest. Let's go back to the phone lines before we get out of here. Let's go to Seth, who wants to talk some Auburn, Alabama basketball. What's going on this morning, Seth?
What's up, Damian? Always nice to talk to another Mitchell.
Hey, what's happening, cuz?
Just going on. So I have probably a slightly different take on this whole situation.
Let's go. Finally, somebody that's got some neutral ground. Let's go. Talk to me, Seth.
Okay, so I'm 38 years old, and I've been a diehard Auburn fan my whole life. Came home from the hospital when Auburn closed. My whole family's Auburn fans. And when I was a kid, I feel like the hate was way more visceral than it actually is now. And here's why I think so. Auburn and Alabama both became significantly more relevant in my young adult life to now than they were when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you think of the run that Auburn and Alabama went on between 2009 and 2013. You name any other state with two universities that's ever had that kind of dominance collectively. Do I pull for Alabama? Here's the answer. If I'm in a vacuum and I'm not talking to any Alabama fans, I find myself being okay pulling for Alabama until I hear an Alabama fan start to speak at all. And then the Auburn comes out, and then it's just visceral hate.
Okay, yeah. That checks out. Yeah.
And so I think for me, too, it's really hard to have not respected Nick Saban as a football coach. And everybody, if you're a real sports fan, should enjoy watching greatness in general.
Yeah.
So in a quiet room just watching alone,
Yeah, I could probably pull for Alabama, but the moment I hear Alabama fans start to talk, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is why I hate you guys.
Seth, we appreciate you, man. Hey, I get it. And somebody just takes in and said, he's speaking truth. Resident Alabama fans. Like, yep, he's speaking facts. Young Bull takes in and says, I don't give a piss about nothing but the tie. That's what I'm talking about. Bird said, do mice bark? No. Man, I thought that, I seriously thought at least one or two people like, yeah, I would root for him. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But this makes that in 10 days, it makes it so much more fun.
Well, and I think it's also, we have to factor in with basketball, the Iron Bowl in football hasn't had the implications where, like Seth was saying, where it felt like every year whoever won that was going to be on the fast track to a national championship game. Yeah. We haven't had that in football for a number of years now, so I think it moves it over to basketball, and now we're looking at these teams as Final Four contenders, and it just makes it all the more heated because it means a little more.
It does indeed. Boy, what a fun show! What a fun show on this War Eagle Wednesday. Mac and Cube in the morning. The next.